welcome back, ballers. Welcome back to Chesticles. This is Jacqueline. I call it Chesticles because I have brass balls. I say things that maybe other people wouldn't say, and I don't know. I made up the word Chesticles actually a long time ago. And it's funny because I know that it's used in a different way now, but I still like that word, chesticles. Instead of, saying breast balls, you have chesticles because I'm a woman. But I really was thinking of my mommy. Oh, gosh, I miss her. My daughter just graduated, so there's been a lot of family gatherings and whatnot, and I miss my parents, Of course, any of you out there who have lost your parents, you know that feeling. And I was thinking of my mom was an avid gardener. She really, she just had such a green thumb and always was out there in the garden and planting flowers. And she knew everything. And I didn't get that gene. I don't know how that passed me by, but I could kill a fake plant. I'm just not good with plants. I love them and I love flowers and everything, but I just don't have that knack. She always seemed to she could look at a plant and say, oh, it needs da-da-da and da-da-da. And I remember as a kid, in our, underneath of our kitchen sink, there would be a bag of peat moss, and I remember finding that word so funny, peat moss, what's peat moss, But anyway, we had a rock garden. We lived, as I told you before, we grew up in a row home, and we had a rock garden for the slope of our lawn. So in other words, if you imagine what row homes would look like, and then the very bottom of the house, there was, I think, 3 steps. And that's where the hill of the lawn would be. And then you walk through the path and then you go up 5 steps and that would be the house. So our bottom hill part was a rock garden, which was beautiful. It had beautiful rocks and flowers in it, and it was very unique. And she was very proud of that, and she took good care of it. And she was always out there weeding. And I think that's one of the reasons I never got into the gardening, because I would help her weed sometimes, and oh God, they just grow back. They grow like weeds, But she was just so good at it. She had that knack, And she'd mow the lawn herself. And back then there was no electric, or gasoline or anything. She had that old, that sounded like a butterfly. All the blades and she'd mow the lawn herself. She was very, very, very good with all that stuff. And I remember when I bought my second house in Bensalem, she came over to help me get situated and all. She was always good at that too. She was very helpful with just telling you where to put things and everything. And so she walked up, and I had 2 huge flowery bushes in the front that lined either side of the gate that went into the backyard. And they were beautiful. I didn't know what they were or whatever, but as soon as she walked up, now remember, my mother I'm sorry. My mother grew up in Germantown, so she had a real strong Germantown Philly accent. And when it's your mom, you don't know it's an accent, but she walked up and she saw the 2 huge bushes in full bloom, and she says, oh my gosh, look at your panties. And I'm looking at her like, what? She goes, oh, Jacqueline, your panties are beautiful. Look at these. Look, come here. Come smell these panties. And I'm like, oh my God, Mom. And she goes, listen, go get scissors right now. This is the perfect time to do it while they're in full bloom. Go get scissors. I'm going to cut a whole big bouquet, and we're going to put them in your house. They smell so good. Your whole house will smell like your panties. And she's going on and on about how wonderful my panties are. And she was saying, I realized, peonies. So, my peonies. That's the word she was saying, but it sounded like peonies. And so my husband was inside the house, and he didn't know either. And, he's British, so everything, we talk funny to him anyway. So he pulls me aside. He's like, why does your mother want the house to smell like your panties? Like he could. Oh my gosh. So of course we all got to laugh. I'm like, Mom, I thought you were saying panties. And she goes, oh my God, that's disgusting. I never said that. Panties. And I'm like, peonies. So that was one of the very funny stories that we get a lot of laughs out of from my mom when she did that, because she was funny, my mom. And she had one of those real, like my dad did too, but like those real hearty laughs. Like I love people that like laugh from their belly, like they lose control of their body when they laugh so hard. Like my mom was funny like that. She always had, when she would laugh, she'd have a really hearty laugh. And when we kept telling her that, and then, she didn't know Matt was inside, and we're telling her that Matt was thinking, your panties. Like, why is her mother obsessed and she wants to cut them now and put them So anyway, it was a very funny story, and my mom really she made us laugh a lot. She was very funny. I remember another time, and my mom was never a drinker. Like when we were growing up, my dad, I told you he was the drinker, but I honestly don't ever remember seeing my mom drink. Like once in a blue moon, there would be like a vodka and orange juice, what they called a screwdriver. And sometimes she'd have them if, people were coming over or whatever. And I do remember one morning seeing a picture of what I thought was orange juice, but it was actually screwdriver. And I poured a whole glass and I drank it. And I'm like, that tasted bad. And she's like, you just drank alcohol, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't know. It wasn't labeled. But, back then we used to use the frozen concentrate. Remember the orange juice that you get and you put in the freezer and it came out, and then you'd squish that like big frosty orangey slush into a pitcher, and then add like 3 containers, that container filled with water 3 times, and add it, and that was your orange juice. I don't even know if they sell that anymore. Now we just get, the Tropicana is my favorite. Tropicana with no pulp. That's like my favorite. I try not to drink too much orange juice because, it's high in sugar, but I do like it once in a while. But yeah, that was the only thing I ever remember her drinking growing up. And one time she came over, we were celebrating my older sister's birthday, and it was my apartment. And I used to be a cook. I used to love to cook and bake. I mean, that was just my hobby. I did it all the time. I would make candies, like little molds, and I did a lot of stuff when I was younger. I wish I had that energy nowadays, but anyway, so I made my sister this 7-layer homemade chocolate cake. So, for her birthday. So we came all, I made dinner, and then we had the cake. And for some reason, my mom, she was, back then it was White Zinfandel. White Zinfandel was the big wine. And she was drinking more than, I think it was probably the first time I ever saw her with a buzz. And, we're all laughing, we're celebrating. And my niece was there. She was the baby. And my mom had come from work, and my mother always dressed to the nines. She always had she's such a beautiful woman. Her hair was done, always had beautiful clothes on. And I remember she had this gorgeous purple, which was her favorite color, suede suit on, really nice. And she was very particular with her clothes, very, very particular. But she had so much wine that she has the baby sitting on her lap eating chocolate cake. The chocolate cake's getting all over. I'm like, oh my gosh, now she's definitely, she's really buzzed. So we start laughing and teasing her. I'm like, Mom, I've never seen you drink. Like, you're kind of getting trashed, you know? And she's like, no, I'm not. I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying myself. And I'm like, oh my God, I love this new mommy. Like, this is hysterical. Because, we were all over 21 and everything, at the time. So it was just funny to see her like that because I, never did. And at one point, she said, okay, I want some more wine. I said, and we were all just like, Mom, because we didn't want her to be sick or anything. Like, she wasn't a big drinker, And I said, Mom, do you want some water first? Or, she goes, no, I want wine. And I want it now. And she's acting, like she had a buzz on, So she goes, and I want you to pour it right here in this glass. And then, she wasn't holding her glass, straight as I was trying to pour it. So she takes her glass, puts it on top of her head, her wine glass, and she's holding it there. She goes, pour it on my head. Oh my gosh, we laughed so hard. We were doubled over, because she couldn't hold the glass straight. So that was her idea of keeping it stable, is to hold it on her head. So that was, for years until she passed, that was always our job. Pour it on. Every time she had a drink of anything, we're like, pour it on my head. Oh, she was a fun mom that night. Not that she wasn't a fun mom, but just to see her have some alcohol in her, and it was just really, really funny. Unusual, but we had a good time. And then, of course, then we would drink with her, so it was good. But yeah, I miss Mom. So I wanted to tell you those funny stories of her, because I just funny mom stories, really funny. And I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. But anyway, thank you so much again. I know I keep thanking you guys, but I really genuinely mean it. I think I'm in 8 countries now. I'm getting lots of likes and follows. I'm anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. I'm on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, of course, here on Spotify, which is where I record from. So please spread the word, share my episodes. Trying to get out there, get my story told just for fun. I'm not monetizing this. I'm just doing it for fun to, I told you it was my lazy way of writing my book that I was supposed to write. So it's been a busy week. My daughter just graduated from high school. She'll be going off to college the end of the summer. So lots going on. It's all good. So thank you guys for listening and following and sharing, and comment too. If you have any comments, that really helps to boost my presence out there. And I appreciate it. I'm very glad that this is going so well and that you guys are enjoying these podcasts. Okay? Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye.